Where are we, Adrian?
We are in Llantrisant Church. We're in the tower on the west side of the church, built in about 1560, I believe the tower was built. And then moving on from there was probably bells here then, but when the time of the Reformation, they were all taken out. We believe the original bells went to Tewkesbury Abbey, because it was part of that diocese. Anyway, in 1718, they decide to put new bells in, and actually, they cast them under this floor.
Well,
There was, when they did put the baptistry in, they found the remains of a foundry underneath the floor. Yeah, so 6 bells were made in 1718, cast on site here, and then in 1893 there was a refurbishment of some of the bells, or one of the bells, but the whole frame, because of the rotting timbers and everything, they had to put a new frame. But so I got told last week when we were taking them up, the bells, the original bells, of which there are 5 left now of the 1718 bells, never left the tower. They were kept up there while they built the frame, as they call it, around it. So they all went back in. So if you think about it, from 1718, those 5 bells, there were 5 of them left, one of them was recast in 1893. But the original 5 bells have never left this footprint
well,
in 300 years.
oh,
And last week we put them on a van and sent
them off to be
refurbished. Yeah.
refurbished.
And in September you'll see the whole centre, there's going to be 10 bells aligned through the centre of the church, ready to go up into the tower and be refitted in a new frame. And that'll happen.
So when are we going to hear the new bells in all their glory?
I would think it won't be before September, with a bit of luck October, but certainly we intend to ring Christmas and next New Year in, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I've just been playing Freddie Mercury. Wish this was Christmas. Thank God it's Christmas. It's on the end of my CD, but I thought, I'll play it this time because I'm going to the church.
And it was quite the thing last week, seeing them come down. Quite the thing.
And this is a really profound Christmas church, isn't it? So up on the hill there.
And yes, it's seen from everywhere. It's beautiful on a day like this, but we catch the weather.
Should we go in with there?
And when it really comes in, it's really, so hence all the problems that we had in the church.
So, Adrian, you were saying that this is going to be one of the only churches in Wales with 10 bells.
With 10 bells. One of 9 churches. It'll be including cathedrals. So it'll make it quite rare. It'll make it very popular, so I'm told, with bell ringing, bands and everybody coming from all over the country and further field. I've been so interested in it, I am now a learning bell ringer.
Oh, excellent. And you had a profound luck then with the one man who was...
One gentleman came who really kick-started us to say, we have to do this. And candidly, we're doing this in his memory largely. You know, he kicked this off. What a legacy. What a legacy for him.
And you were saying that he was a bell ringer in Westminster Abbey.
I think he went to London many, many years ago, and somebody said to me that he was ringing in Westminster. So he was quite a well-known ringer in the world of bells and campanology, you know.
And it's worth about 100 grand for the
to do a new
bells.
set. To do a new set, not to buy 8 new bells,
right?
But to refurbish and refit in a new frame.
And then 12,000 each for the extra 2.
For the extra 2, roughly, and the other building work that's got to go on to make it
secure,
tower good enough condition to take the bells.
Yeah.
The whole job is about, as I say, about £360,000 all the whole thing.
And this gentleman donated at least a third of it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Stunning.
Yeah. So what a legacy.
Indeed. So, anything on this screen?
The screen there was a massive refurbishment done in, and somewhere on here it must say in here, 1893. So this screen went up in 1894 in memory of, I think it was the vicar at the time. At that time, when they did this refurbishment, this whole archway was walled in. And as I say, when they decided to open it up to make a new ringing room for the bells and to dig out to put a baptistry in, that's when they found the foundry at the bottom.
Wow.
It's a pity you can't go up today yet as a tour into the tower, which we can on other days. But in the next room from the ringing room, so you have vestry here. Yeah. You have the ringing room, and the next room up is called the rope room. which is a room that those ropes go up to the bells themselves, which is in the furthest room right at the top, higher than the peak of the church here. And in that rope room, another rarity we've got here is they've actually found in 1893 a mould, one of the moulds of the 1718 bells.
Wow.
So we're struggling how to keep that best. Now what we were going to do is find a way to bring it down, but if you know, like moulding in a foundry, it's made of sand. So it's like a sandcastle, it's ready to fall apart.
Good heavens.
So we don't really want to move it.
No.
So somebody last week, the bell hanging company who was doing the contract for us, we're volunteers, about 6 of us volunteers.
Wow.
And he came up with a suggestion which we've really liked, and that is to make that rope room into a museum room. So we're going to keep them all there now. I'm putting cameras up throughout the tower. We have TV screens, so we'll be able to show people, and they'll be able to see the bells ringing. We've got 2 cameras going in the bell chamber, 1 in what will be the museum, 2 in the ringing room, all new lighting and everything.
How many days will you be open?
We'll be
open.
At that time, it's a good question, because part of the grants, we don't want this to be, it sounds a bit facetious now, but we don't want it to be the best kept clubhouse for 60 or 70 people on a Sunday. So we're going to work closely actually with the Guildhall.
Yeah,
and
that's
the idea
my
is
first thought was.
we're in discussion. I've met with Claire in the Guildhall, and we've talked through it at the church, and the intention is that we're going to open, I won't say all the days that the Guildhall is open, but we might want to build up to that, but rather than trying it for 3 and not managing it, certainly for 1 or 2 days a week, we'll be open then to show it off. Yeah, and
2 for 1 then?
Yeah.
And that's the circle thing for the bells,
The bells. Well, if you a better way to look at that,
okay.
actually, if we go
over that one, yeah.
When we were bringing the bells down,
Yeah.
not last week, I mean some weeks ago when we were, or some months ago now, when we were getting ready for this project, we dismantled a lot of the fitments off the bell. And I was amazed when doing so to find, so the numbers go up, there was 8 bells, and this is the wheel and the rope and the fittings from bell number 5. So it's not the biggest. There's another 3 bigger than this.
Wow.
And it just amazed me when we got it down out to the smallish space up there, the size of them. So you can imagine what the biggest one, and this, my wife has designed these and put these up just for information for people to show the stages of the project we were at. So as you can see, the clock dial here is showing we're at the same stage we were at last week, where the bell frame and the bells were removed and the bells have gone away to be refurbished. So we only have 2 steps to go. The installation of the refurbished bells in a new 10-bell frame. Since this was put up with 2 new bells added to make it 10, and later on this year they'll all be rededicated, rehung and be rerun. Be a lovely sound, beautiful.
I don't think I've ever noticed that I've heard them. I've got to be honest. I don't live in Llantrisant, but
well, certainly, as I say, since 2011 they haven't rung, or 11 or 12, and prior to that, for probably 30 or 40 years before that, they didn't ring much because they didn't have a consistent group that was playing, and I'm told by competent bell ringers they weren't the nicest set to ring. You know, there was issues with them because the first one's going up in 1718, another one going in 1893, and then there were 2 added in 1926.
ah,
Yes. So
1 year older than my dad.
Sorry?
1 year older than my dad,
There we are.
whose birthday is the 11th of May.
Yeah. So you can imagine. So that's what they were. So not long to that.
Yeah.
Then, yeah. So they. Yeah. So you know, it's a lot of history. Lot of history was in the bells. Yeah.
And are you recruiting for ringers?
Certainly are.
So what's the advert then? What's the attraction?
well-
Sell it.
Yeah. Sell it. Right. Okay. The way. First of all, the way I came into it was just loving the project, and somebody challenged me. You should have a go, Adrian, to pull one of the ropes. Hold on to the Sally and pull the Sally. And so I went to Cowbridge. They've been very, very generous to us, Cowbridge Church, in the way that they're training and helping and advising us. So 4 or 5 of us started going down. Our rector's wife, Amy, she goes down. She's very competent now with it. We built up quite a group, and there's now a group of us that are at various stages. Some have rung before, and a returning to bell ringing.
Yep.
Some have never done it before,
Yep.
just starting afresh. And some that much younger than me and seem to pick it up much quicker than me, let's put it that way, but still learners at this stage. And we're up to a group of about 15 at the moment, because of course with 10,
Yeah.
you probably need 20
Right.
at least to
get everybody
people be away on
together.
holiday,
Yeah.
people be away and so
Yeah.
on.
So what's the cost of learning? Is there a
The cost
cost?
of learning is
Yeah.
it's minimal. We do make, like for Cowbridge, we've made a donation to their bell maintenance fund, and we'll probably do something similar.
Yeah.
But
But personally, it's a little cost.
it's so little with that, so I'm finding in that world.
And it sounds like it's good exercise as well.
And that's what I was going to say, and it definitely, it's for all ages, absolutely for sure. All ages can do it. As I mentioned there, we are finding, which was a bit disheartening for me being a new starter, it took me 8 months to get to a position where one of the girls who comes to church on a Sunday morning with us said she'd like to learn, and she's been going 6 weeks, and she's already where I'm at now.
Some
But
people-
everybody, it does capture you.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
Do you have to have a sense of rhythm or music?
No, certainly not music, because we do it to numbers.
Right.
And basically, we're just at the stage where we're ringing in what's called a round.
Yep.
So with 8 bells, let's say, only rather than counting to 10.
Yep.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if I'm number 4 and you're number 3, I watch just as you're pulling, and as you pull, then I pull. And we keep that rhythm going. So there is that rhythm, but it's... But perhaps more competent people would tell you there's a lot more to it in terms of rhythm and
Yeah.
musicality.
Somebody directing it, no
But,
doubt. So when do you meet then for...
We haven't set that
Right.
yet, because at the moment...
You haven't got the bells yet.
We go... So we
Yeah.
have 2 sets of lessons. The starters go on a Sunday night where you have the bells, what they call tied. You can't hear them.
Oh, right,
The
right.
clapper is held in one position.
Can imagine,
But
yeah.
you get used to
To
that,
the pull,
to that
yeah.
rhythm and that
Yeah.
pull. On a Tuesday night, they have a lot more people coming from other churches and from Cowbridge, and that's open ringing. That's called where you can hear them, and it's glorious. In fact, tonight, I think it's either 6 o'clock till 7:30 or 6:30 till 8 in
Yep.
Cowbridge.
Yep.
You will hear their band
Because of the VE Day,
They're
8th of May.
ringing for an
Yeah.
hour and a half.
Oh, wonderful.
Sorry, 3/4 of an hour. They're ringing from, I think it's 6:30 to 7:15.
Wonderful.
And it's a glorious sound. It's a glorious sound. And I must say, Llantrisant as a town, so supportive of the
Yeah.
project. People have
Yeah.
missed them, I think,
Yeah.
not hearing the bells.
I bet they have, yeah. Weddings especially.
Well, that's right.
So this is a very old church then.
Yeah, the first known Christian worship here was right back in the 7th century. By the way, I haven't forgotten, you did want to see the stone. We're
We'll get
working our
there
way
in
up
there.
to it.
We'll
We're
get there.
working our way up to
Yeah.
it. But really, in terms of there being a building of any significance here,
Yeah.
the records show about 1240, something
Right.
like that, was the first sort of building. Not in this form. It's been adapted and changed, of course, on a couple of occasions since then. But 1240 was the first, and then the tower was added. So all that west end, from that archway, the way you came in,
Yep.
all that tower went up in 1560 or so.
Right.
And that's when the first bells would have then gone in, which went away, and then the 1718 ones came in then.
Excellent.
This font is from is a Norman font.
Sometimes the Normans took the stone that was there from the original British church
Oh, right.
and recarved it.
Really?
Yeah. There was a man up in Hereford Way
Yeah.
who did a study of Hereford and Gwent
Yeah.
fonts.
And that's what they
and he
found,
found, yeah.
So that might. So as,
Could-
as
could
a
well
font,
be
it's from
older.
Might be older.
Yeah,
though, as
it could well be
as a
older.
Stone.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. On the video.
Brilliant, because we are. This is all awoken so much that we take it for granted, don't we? These buildings around and we're in amongst
Yeah,
them.
you're telling me.
To get the work done, I had to investigate lots of things, and my wife was a great help in researching it. And so, for instance, she found out some bits about the font. So we've been putting up these posters. You'll see them around in the windows.
Yeah.
Some where we found out anything about the stained glass designs,
Yep.
or the font, and we're going to work our way up to the east window in a moment.
Right.
So anything that's iconic about the church,
Yep.
we've
You're
been making one of
highlighting.
those and doing it and doing bilingual. So the hatchment, the morning hatchment, I'd never come across what that was till just a year ago. So famous families,
Yeah.
or well-to-do families, when somebody passed away, they would have had this hatchment. It's distinctive and it's very dark, very mournful. And this one is Christopher Cole, Manley Hall. This gentleman was from.
Yeah, where the fire brigade had their headquarters.
That's right. Yeah, well, that's gone now. There's a hotel now. But...
a boutique hotel there now, yeah.
So this was Sir Christopher Cole, and became a very famous politician. He was a naval man, and this bit I like. He went on to marry. He married a lady from, let's just say, first of all, west of here.
Yeah.
She was a widow. She had 5 children, and so he married her. And one of those children went. So now I'll tell you, her surname was Talbot, and they went on to set up Port Talbot. As you know, yeah.
Well, that's a very famous family.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
they know a lot of secrets down there by the look of it.
Yeah.
Because if you go in the old abbey,
Yeah.
there's a grave where it should be on the north wall, founder's grave near the altar of the original abbey, and it's just a green grass now.
Yeah.
And you can see the outside wall where the original abbey was.
Yeah.
And they've put up a piece of art representing an altar.
Okay.
And if you look to the right hand, as if we were looking down here,
Yeah.
to the right on the north,
Yeah.
founder's grave, and they've put a beautiful stone there. And they try to say that that's a stone for the cellarman.
Right.
But the Talbots
Might have been.
would have known a lot more. Imagine the library they had.
Yeah.
So they would have known who that could possibly have been. That's a beautiful drawing, isn't it?
Well, this is an interesting drawing because if you look at the chancel, originally in the original design, the chancel wasn't there. So sort of 1240 to 1500s,
Yeah.
that chancel wasn't there. And you're right, the drawing shows, it's a depiction, admittedly, of what it would have been like. So there's the chandelier just in place at this central point. The wall, therefore, the arch, was filled in. And if you look here, just carefully, can you see lying incumbent here is this effigy?
Yeah.
And that effigy is what we got on the wall here.
Ah, yeah.
Because when it was decided to open that up,
Yep.
apparently these effigies were a protectorate of everything about the church in those times. And so this is Cadogan Fawr, I think it was. Yeah, Cadogan Fawr of Miskin.
Ah.
Yeah, who was quite the warrior fighting against, would it have been Richard de Clare then, or Edward? Gilbert de Clare. Yeah, Gilbert. He was an opponent
Of Gilbert de Clare.
So that was put there, I'm guessing then, when all that was opened up, which might have been there in the sort of 70, when the bells, when it was 1718, so when they did a major... To the chancel there, the other bits that are the iconic bits, if you like, of the church.
Yeah.
I got a question for you now.
Okay.
I always do this, and but don't be worried, nobody gets it right. Right, so I'm just being the clever so-and-so now.
You can be as clever as you like.
So when you look at the east window,
Yep.
and Christ on the cross,
Yep.
in terms of what depiction you normally have of Christ on the cross,
Yep.
can you see anything that stands out as perhaps different in normal depictions you see?
He's not at the top of the bar. The bar is near the top of the upright.
True. But that's not the answer.
That's not the answer. Has he got his legs tied rather than nailed?
Did you know it before?
No, but usually a beard.
That's correct. That is absolutely correct.
Oh, he's a beardless
He has no
Christ.
beardless,
Oh,
no.
right. Well,
This window, this all went in 1890s or 1870s possibly.
Yeah.
That and Edward Coley, I'll have to look at the name, sorry.
No worries. No worries.
Burne-Jones was a very famous stained glass designer, artist.
And one of the pre-Raphaelites. of
That's
course.
correct. Yes, yes.
A pre-Raphaelite. Well, now we're getting some real knowledge now.
You stay with the
So
expert.
that's
I think I found it.
I'm just seeing what I can remember. Edward Coley Burne-Jones was the designer, and this apparently there's a debate as to how many of his beardless Christ windows there are across Europe. I've heard it vary, as little as 3 or 5 across the whole of Europe. Of course, in Llantrisant, we like to say it's the only one, but that's not the case. We know 3. I think Barrow in Furness is another one, and and somewhere up. Anyway, so there's 2 or 3 in UK, we believe.
Wow.
But that's what's famous about. And so this is quite a famous window on all accounts, we're told. But you're right, pre-Raphaelite.
Pre-Raphaelite. What's the Raphaelites
and
then?
went on to work with William Morris.
Exactly, in a very kind of idealised form of the
Yeah.
male and female body.
Yes.
I saw my first exhibition of his work in the late 1970s on the South Bank in London, and I was bowled over.
Really?
And so Burne-Jones has a...
Did you know we had a Burne-Jones window here?
No, I hadn't done my homework properly, Adrian.
No,
I'm learning a lot today.
You were lucky you came in with us then, weren't you?
Exactly.
It's like somebody to confirm it to me, to be honest.
It's
because
fortuitous.
Wow.
So what do you know about the pre-Raphaelites? I don't even know what the Raphaelites are.
I'm no
They're the ones the ones
expert.
before them.
I'm no expert, but you know, they're very stylised. It's
Yeah.
very beautiful,
Yeah.
and I'm sure this will inspire us to go and find out more.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I found it fascinating reading about him.
You're right.
When you see it, and that's how I came across the connection with William Morris and all their work together. But
So who-
that's, in many ways, our most famous icon, I would say, in the church. They're all, in their own way, wonderful, the various icons we
Yeah.
have. But that when people are coming in largely, that's the big draw people have. Now, to go back even further, though, the point you wanted to ask, as we've made our way up to here. So
All
here
right.
is
The stone.
burial stone that you wanted to see. So dated apparently back to the 7th century.
How do they date a stone?
I was afraid you were going to ask that. I'm not absolutely sure, to be honest, but
They get it wrong sometimes.
I'm sure, yes.
The resurrection stone.
A
Why is it-
resurrection stone. Apparently, so they say they used to use them when it was a new grave to lay it on to stop, you know.
As a temporary measure, you mean?
Yes, yes.
To make sure they were dead.
Well,
Don't anybody
that
come out of
nobody
that
pinched
grave.
anything from there.
You can see the
You
cross on it.
can see the Celtic
Can you
crosses
see it clear?
just sort of faintly here.
Yeah. I saw the replica in the Guildhall,
Oh, right, of course.
which is why I wanted to come here. But
Okay.
every time I've come here, it's been locked up.
I know.
So I saw the vicar this morning on the VE Day service
Right.
in Baydeye,
Yes.
and he said, well, it's open now because they're working on it.
Yeah.
And he told me about the bells.
Right.
What did you think of that then?
That's fate, you see, meant to happen. We although Neil and I did work on the bells last week and excited about the next stage, we're here today just doing some cleaning and cutting the hedge, and I think because we got a big sort of church family wedding here tomorrow.
Right.
So
The vicar said that he was hoping it would be put in a glass display of some.
this one.
Yeah.
Yes, I think till now, the heritage aspect of all the work we're doing at the moment is only just really, I think, gathering some momentum.
Yeah.
And it's beholden on us to make that more public and to make it, to let everybody know about it. Not just because we find it fascinating, because
Yeah.
everybody does.
Yeah, definitely.
So I agree to show it
getting-
off in a different way.
Any writing on the other sides?
Not that I'm aware, no, and I daren't pick it up.
You
It's
don't?
very heavy. The density of the stone is such that I know it's quite a job to move about. But I'm not aware. I've never seen any reference to any writing that's on it. The only thing I've seen reference to
Is the cross, yeah.
was the 4 crosses. that's on
Four
it.
Crosses?
There's the one large one here.
Yeah,
believe,
I can see it, yeah.
2 on the side.
Yeah.
And I think one possibly there. Now.
Oh yeah, 2 crosses there. Wonder what that means then.
We don't know a lot about this one actually. Other than when it was dated and that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the famous window with
That's the famous
beard,
one.
beardless Christ.
Edward Coley Burne-Jones.
Yeah. Could you say that was ginger hair as well?
Not sure.
Copper coloured, isn't it? It's not
Yeah.
ginger as such.
But I have seen reference, as you say, to the detail of the male and female faces on this work.
Yes, they're quite stylised, the male and the female, the high cheekbone, etc.
Yes.
Yeah. That you could say that was, as you say, one or the other or in between. So he's famous for having male and female in.
No, he's just, well, I'm no expert, but the figures that he's created are very, very beautiful.
They are indeed, yeah.
I have seen reference to that in a number of... It's the only Coley Burne-Jones window we have here.
Yeah.
But the others, there's a little bit of detail we've been finding on each one.
Who are the two either side? Is that his wife or his mother?
No, one is John, I believe, who's always in the green.
Right.
And Mary.
Mary Magdalene or Mary the mother?
Mother of, I believe. But I terrible confession, but I'm not sure.
Because he's made her very young as well, by the look of it.
Yeah. And I am presuming that they'd all call you Burne-Jones and would also be the...
Presumably
From
so.
the detail.
You would think they would be, but it's not necessary. But has he put his name on the
No,
bottom?
I just wondered then...
Because a lot of them do, don't they?
No, and he... Oh no, the architect at the time in the big restoration that was done, I just seen the name here, Pritchard. Was the architect.
Oh yeah, Pritchard, yeah.
And he commissioned the windows to be done.
Yeah.
In memory of his... He had descendants who come from Llantrisant.
Yeah. So going back to when you asked me the question,
Yeah.
and straight away I saw the cross.
Yeah.
A lot of thinking is that the Romans would never have wasted the manpower on the really tall crosses to get a body up onto a really tall cross. So they would only, he's just off the ground, but that's all you need to be.
That's all you need, yeah.
As long as your feet aren't on the ground.
Yeah.
And the horizontal beam then just possibly went on the top of the post.
Yeah. It's quite, but it's one of the main things that people come to when they come to the church, looking at any of the icons we have around. We're trying to bring, as I say, the wall to life, including the baptistry at the back, history of the bells, the mould of the bell, the font, the effigy. But yeah, that's the main one.
That's a nice one there.
Yeah, old stones, aren't they?
Look at when you look at it in the camera, where it's picking out different light. Yeah, I can see. It's a cameraman's modus operandi, that is. Don't look where you're going and get run over. But looking in the camera, look, if you look in there, you can see different...
Yeah.
It looks more real, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, yeah. That's a lot of detail, yeah. And that's about it, I think.
About it? Well, that's absolutely amazing, Adrian.
Thank you for your interest.
And thank you for showing us round.
Very, very welcome.
And thank you for your company too. My name is Paul.
Adrian is the star here. Well done, Adrian.
No, that's all.
Fantastic.
Do you mind? What was that? Here we are in St. Bridget's Church, St. Bride's Major. There's the altar. There's the north wall. And underneath the chairs, the tombstone for the founder, St. Bridget. There's no inscription on it. I quite like that stone there, Tim. The Rev Butler. I wonder what that symbolises then. And right above the Reverend Butler's tombstone, we have the magnificent tomb of a knight and his wife, cross-legged, which probably means he did 2 crusades or something. I doubt if he did crusades at his age. He's a Tudor gentleman. Looks like a Tudor grave, doesn't it? 1600s. Perhaps it means he did 2 grand tours to Italy. Or whatever. I'd be interested to find out that one. And there's another tomb here. This one's quite beautiful as well. And look at him. And her. I think there's a woman in there as well. Yeah. I didn't see that. There was a woman in there as well. And right underneath, a fabulous old flower planter. I don't think it's a flower planter, but look at that carving on the side. So it might have been a font. But look at this here, and this is Tim's favourite piece. A stone sarcophagus. How amazing is that?
The way it's got a recess for the lid to go in.
Yeah, recessed for the lid to go in.
We're very glad not to be asked to move that one, Paul.
Holy water place. And there's a lovely, I've done that before. There's a lovely brass rubbing there, look. No doubt he found the genie. He got the bottle. That's superb. Wonder where that is.
Because that must weigh tons.
Yeah, not a forklift truck, that's a fact. It's quite an impressive Norman arch design.
That's going to weigh 4 or 5 tons.
Yeah, 4 or 5 tons. How do you move that? Statue of Saint Bride, Saint Bridget. That's beautiful. St. Paul the Apostle with the Good Shepherd in memory of the Reverend Thomas and his wife. And Elizabeth of Normandy, is it? Don't know where she's of. Where is that? Don't know. Here's one of my favourites. Saint Helena of the Cross with Saint Francis of Assisi.
Where is Assisi?
I don't know. Sounds Italian, but it's probably French. Quite an old crypt there. Not crypt. Quite an old font. And this church needs £2,500 a week, no, a month. £2,500 a month in order to keep the church open. Amazing, eh? And where Tim is standing, there's a wooden floorboarding which Tim thinks might be the entrance to the crypt. Where's the candle station? Can you see where you can light a candle?